It would be logical to assume that a monster's 8.2-liter V8 would deliver stupendous performance. In the case of the 1976 Cadillac Eldorado, this would be a mistake. Engineers struggling to meet demanding emissions regulations lowered the compression ratio of this mammoth Cadillac, which along with other small gear reduced the engine's once huge power to just 190 horsepower. Frankly, you would be right to demand that output from an engine 1/4 the size. When it debuted in the early 1990s, the Dodge Viper boasted a 10-cylinder engine with a displacement of 8 liters, which made it one of the largest displacement production engines in the world at the time. While its 400 horsepower sounds healthy, it's a long way from the expectations those big engine figures raise. To put it in a perspective, the 1991 Lotus Carlton sedan produced very nearly 400 horsepower, but with half the displacement of the Viper and just 6 cylinders. In these modern times, massive horsepower is being extracted from ever smaller engines. Ford's latest GT's V6 develops 647 horsepower, and there are many other examples of manufacturers turning to 6- and 4-cylinder power for their performance cars. But at one time in America, the V8 ruled, and you wouldn't dream of launching a performance model without one. They didn't, by any stretch, guarantee performance. The 1982 Camaro Z28 sported a base V8 engine that generated a farcical 145 horsepower. That power would deliver 60 miles per hour in a little less than 10 seconds. The AM General Hummer, also called Humvee, was a massive Jeep initially meant for use by the military. It was an intimidating machine to behold with slab-sided bodywork and simply massive wheels and tires. If you wanted to strike fear in the hearts of the bad guys, the Humvee was the vehicle to arrive in. Just don't let them see under the hood. Because in spite of the overly macho graphics of the Hummer, remember the Terminator was a huge fan. Its GM Detroit diesel engine could barely generate 130 horsepower. But then, its glacial performance is probably forgivable. A standard Hummer H1 weighs more than 7,000 pounds. The Ford Mustang II King Cobra, giving a car name that grandiloquent is perhaps raising unfair expectations. The King Cobra, though did look promising on paper, with its 5-liter V8, hood bulge, front and rear spoilers, and 4-speed manual gearbox. In fairness, the Cobra did have all the elements to make a proper muscle car. You are probably already guessing what a missing ingredient is. That's right, the 5-liter V8 was pushing out just 139 horsepower, which resulted in from 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint in around 10 seconds. Something calling itself a King Cobra needs to be a lot quicker than that. The Jeep Commander was an early adopter of 3-row seating back in 2007. That remains possibly the most interesting aspect of this Jeep, of which you could say, look, there is a Jeep and the box it came in. Pleasingly styled it is not. 2007 isn't so long ago when a mere 235 horsepower from a 4.7-liter V8 was remotely acceptable. So the Commander was a bit of a loser, which explains why it went out of production after 5 years. Even the Chrysler CEO Sergio Marchionne was down on the Commander, saying that the vehicle was unfit for human consumption. We sold some, but I don't know why people bought them. Like so many of its brethren, the Chevrolet Corvette struggled with plunging horsepower output in the 1970s. It was especially hard for the Wet because models from the 1960s were titans of power. The assumption on the part of casual observers was that the Wet would leave any stoplight rival in a cloud of tire smoke. While the only way the 75 Corvette would smoke its rear tires would have been with the help of a gas can and some safety matches. The combination of having a catalytic converter installed and a lower compression ratio meant the Corvette's 5.7-liter V8 could produce just 165 horsepower